Hello, I am the Vulcanator, and we are going to be doing an impromptu May the 4th podcast about Star Wars. I'm not good at hosting, but I guess this was kind of my idea to do the podcast, so yeah. But anyways, I'm joined here by other Star Wars streamers and mod designers for KOTOR. I stream a lot of KOTOR myself, and occasionally other Star Wars games, and yeah, so Thor, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Thor110, or Edward, or Eddie, or whatever you want to call me. I'm the mod developer that Vulcanator was just on about. I've been working on some crazy, oversized mod package for Knights of the Old Republic 2 for the last couple of years. That's probably all about you get out of me for an intro.
Alright, I guess I'll go next. I'm UncleVatred TV for my Twitch name. I would say I'm a Star Wars gamer. 90% of my content is Star Wars related, so most of that revolves around KOTOR, playing KOTOR mods, testing stuff, and movie battles too on the Jedi Academy end. I've got into a lot recently. And then on the side, you'll occasionally see me playing baseball sims or truck simulator, but glad to be here tonight, glad to be talking Star Wars.
And we do have a fourth, who is currently AFK. He's been having some computer problems today, so hopefully he can make it back. But yeah, so our fourth, Starknado 3D. He's a good friend of mine. Also streams Star Wars, probably less so than the rest of us, but he streams a lot of like. I know he does like Yu-Gi-Oh speedruns, Metal Gear Solid, and Halo a lot of too. But he's just as knowledgeable about Star Wars as the rest of us. He's a super, super big Star Wars fan, just like all the rest of us here. So we're gonna talk about just some random Star Wars topics that our chats collectively came up with.
For the record, I'm really not that knowledgeable on Star Wars.
Oh yes, you are. Shut up.
I don't know. I wouldn't say I was.
Well, I mean, most of the fan base as a whole isn't necessarily knowledgeable. I'd say you know more than most if you at least do KOTOR modding and stuff like that.
Yeah, but let me put this into perspective. I've read 0 Star Wars books.
Really?
0.
Oh no.
0. I've
you
read the comics.
Oh, you read the
that
comics.
would be a good topic.
I
What's a
think
good
that was it.
starting off point if you're getting into Star Wars novels?
Dark Empire.
Usually everybody says Dark
I've
Empire
heard
is
a few-
always
Really?
Dark
People
Empire.
actually mean that? I have my.
I've heard people unironically say that in terms of like YouTubers, but these may have been YouTubers I've unpurged from my subscriptions when I reevaluated what kind of Star Wars content I want to watch.
I just started rereading Dark Empire from like my early childhood because I found that at Barnes and Noble last week, and yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's way worse than I remember it. But I don't know. It does have that nostalgia factor, but it's yeah, it's better than Rise of Skywalker, but
For sure.
it's yeah, it's really cheesy. I mean, it's just like a cheesy 90s comic book. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like, yeah, one of those older, like, Marvel or DC comic books where, like, there's a narration frame in every single page telling you what's happening instead of just, like, showing you. It's so irritating.
Yeah.
It breaks the show don't tell rules so many times. But, yeah.
But no, I don't think Dark Empire is something I've necessarily read. I know just when I had a phase a while back where I was reading a lot of like not reading, but listening to a lot of the different audio dramas and audiobooks. I think there was a Dark Empire audiobook with like a full cast, and yeah, I can kind of see where it doesn't really hold up compared to what it may have originally reading it or listening to it when you're younger.
Yeah, they made they wrote a novel of Dark Empire. It's funny because so Dark Empire, the comic comes out, that was the first media that was released under, and then they made a novel about it, and I'm sure they made like audiobooks, radio dramas, shit like that afterwards. There's a really cool animated web series of Dark Empire 2 online. It's not done yet. It's only through like chapter 3. Dark Empire is like 10 chapters. It's long, but it's pretty cool. But anyways, so yeah, so the comic came out and then they made the novel, and then with the Thrawn trilogy, which is probably we should actually start off with EU books, by the way.
Right.
But with the Thrawn trilogy, they made the novels, or the novels were written, and then they made comics about them. But it's funny because like the Thrawn trilogy ends like 6 months before Dark Empire begins. It's really they're basically consecutive to one another.
Right.
So.
Didn't play the Shadows of the Empire game on N64 Classic.
Oh, Shadows. I played that probably early on in my streaming career. I'd say third or so game I've played.
It's an absolutely legendary game. I was surprised to find out recently that Shadows of the Empire itself was a whole like spin-off Star Wars thing. It had like comics and books and all sorts of things.
Yeah, well, I was about to say I haven't played the game, but I read the book. I read the novel. And the novel's like pretty different from the game story as far as I know. Like there's a lot less focus on Dash Rendar, the protagonist of the game, obviously. Because the book seems to mostly focus on Leia, Lando, and Luke.
Right, because Dash is more of like a side character you see like a couple times there, maybe.
Yeah.
It's been a little rusty on at least any written material on Shadows.
Yeah, they kind of refer to him a lot as like just sort of like scoundrel, like jackass, like basically like the new generation Han Solo, because Han Solo's frozen in carbonite throughout the entire story. So, yeah. But
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back. We already started.
Hey, that's cool.
Hey, Stark's
Figured as much.
Yeah.
It's me.
Well, Stark, why don't you introduce
Welcome back.
yourself?
I am Starknado 3D, and I'm the most handsome Star Wars streamer on Twitch.
True.
Fight about it. It'll be our first talking point. How cool am I?
Cool enough to ask.
Hey, Winder, what's up?
So what did I miss?
We were talking about Shadows of the Empire, and Thor. Sorry, Thor said he had never read a Star Wars novel.
Oh.
Shit. And then we started talking about like good novels to start with, and I jokingly said Dark Empire.
Right.
And
Dark Empire is one of the worst pieces of media ever created in the old canon.
It's not good. Yeah,
Swear
it's
to
not
God.
good at all. I'm about a third of the way through the comic, through the graphic novel, and it's not very good. But
It's pretty
anyways,
foul.
I'm not gonna echo myself, but yeah, just show don't tell. Just God.
Right.
Exactly.
What else? Yeah, and then we talked about Shadows of the Empire and how I've never played the game, but I read the book, and like how the game and the book, the game's narrative and the book's narrative are very different from one another, and it's really
Yeah,
weird.
it's not even the same.
Book, of course, is on the familiar crew, you know, Luke, Lando, Chewie. Then the game's like, all right, yeah, Dash Rendar is the only character in the fucking universe. Like, he's gonna take care of all this by himself.
And in the book, they just write Dash off. Like they're just like
Right.
They're just like,
Yeah,
oh,
he's like, yeah, he's
gonna go do
away
something.
right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Dash Rendar is going away. Oh, that guy's an asshole, isn't he? Yeah. He's like Han. He's like Han 3 years ago. You know.
Are unique scenes in both. Like, book doesn't go into like the Ord Mantell junkyard where IG-88 is hunting down Dash Rendar and they're doing this cool train fight.
Does the movie?
Such a badass
the movie.
level.
Does the
Oh god, it is.
does the game? Does it have Prince Shizor like mesmerizing Leia into being his queen or whatever?
But does not.
No, I think there's like
That was-
maybe a
that was
couple
in the book.
cutscenes with him, and that's like it. And you see him on the game.
Oh,
over
he's like
screen.
the main bad guy in the book.
And he's
It's him and Boba
yeah,
Fett.
well, like he's still the main bad guy. And then you've got Boba Fett chasing you down the whole time and everything. Like
Yeah.
half of the time you are just fucking off on some random planet dealing with like criminals or stormtroopers or droids. Like,
I see.
it's a fucking good game though. I had somebody arguing that with me the other day.
Best
Dude, just one
Star
of the
Wars
best
game?
Star Wars shooters. Who literally played all of them.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The,
it was either
want
mine
to
or
crack your smoking.
yeah, I remember it was either mine or Vatred's chat. I think it might have been Vatred's actually, because I remember watching it, and like somebody was like, Shadows of the Empire is the worst game I've ever played, and then Stark was like, what? It was pretty funny.
Right.
Oh yeah, 'cause I think I was struggling with one of like I think it was a level where you have to climb a bunch of rock slides, but the rock textures are more like ice textures, so you just like slide about 5 feet off the ledge.
Right.
God.
Better than fucking Dark Forces. Give it that much.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dark Forces is a classic.
I love Dark Forces, but
Dark
you
Forces
talk about
is
like
It didn't age well. Like I had
the least-
to
that's
put
the
some
least
kind of
intuitive
screwy mod
game.
on it where I could get mouse look, and it made it playable.
That is the least intuitive game in the fucking planet. There are so many low-res, fucking blurry-ass JPEGs that you have to interact with to open a door on the other side of the fucking map.
I still haven't
The
fully
sewer
played
level?
Dark Forces 1, 2, or Mysteries of the Sith.
I've never beaten it. I've played like up to like maybe halfway through it and then gave up. I'm just like, no. It's the same like
I played
unintuitive
Jedi.
maps as Outcast, except like way worse because all the all the fucking textures are, you know, potatoes.
Outcast. Now that's a game that really pissed me off with a lot of the map designs.
Yeah. That's my favorite one in the entire series.
I liked it. I mean, it was
I
fun.
absolutely
Oh,
adore
it was a
Outcast.
fun
Academy
game.
is
I
pretty
liked
good.
it.
But yeah, Outcast definitely makes you want to rip your hair out. That fucking Nar Shaddaa level, man. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I ran around for, like-
Academy refines the formula a little bit, and probably has the best,
Mechanics.
gameplay mechanics,
Yeah,
and level
mechanics wise,
design.
it's better. Yeah.
Right.
Like, I just hate every character in Academy, every single one that isn't just like a character coming back.
Jaden, wait,
some
I'm
other
stuck.
piece of media.
Jaden, I'm stuck. Can you help me?
Like,
Yeah, I can feel that.
what?
I
I like
played
Jaden.
I played Dark
like-
Forces, the mod for Jedi Academy. That was pretty good.
What?
The
Oh
remake.
yeah,
fun.
somebody's remaking that or remade that in Jedi Academy. I've never checked that out.
It's
Actually
pretty
sounds
good.
super interesting.
It's 16 out of the 22 levels, I think it was.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Spicy. As long as it doesn't have the sewer level, I'll play it. That sounds fun.
It has the sewer level.
Oh, the sewer
well, that
level.
sounds terrible.
It's a bitch.
That's
but-
an awful idea.
I don't think
Throw
I
it in the
don't think I
trash.
ever got to the sewer level. What's the sewer level?
No, it's like the third one.
You have to.
The one where you have
It's
to keep
not that
going
bad,
down the
but if you get
chutes
lost,
that,
you're
like,
stuck.
I've played
carry you down
like
the
a
water,
million
down the
times.
tunnel.
Maybe I
I still
blocked it
gotta
from my
find
memory.
out.
Maybe I blocked it from my memory or something because I don't remember that. But I know I've played like a couple.
It's the one that
levels.
has the Dianogas that keep popping up at you every time you walk more than 5 feet in any
Ooh.
direction.
That sounds familiar.
It could be different than for what I experienced.
That
It's a
does.
cool fucking strategy.
The
guide.
Dianogas sound familiar. Because not a lot of games have those.
While we're talking about interesting Star Wars games and strategy guides, I'm going to be right back. I have something for this.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll let him show off his thing, and then we'll get to our actual talking points. Because I know you got to leave in like 20 minutes, Vatred.
Right. But no, in terms of show and tell time, this is the original Dark Forces player guide.
Oh shit! I have the one for KOTOR 2 in a box somewhere.
Oh.
The Prima guide, yeah.
God.
The Prima guide that had the unreleased version of KOTOR 2 that had way more of the game in it. Yo!
the actual
Yo, I have that
Prima
Malgus
guide.
too! Hang on. Mine's lightsaber broke, but I do have it.
Then I got Diablo 2 for anybody who likes that. But this is a reproduction. This isn't the original.
Oh god, it's so dusty though. Look how dusty it is.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know we were strapped for time, or I wouldn't have done this bit. Ben, like
Oh,
the
you're
KOTOR 2 strategy guides, nifty, that's cute and all. Does anybody else have the Prima's official strategy guide for Star Wars:
Whoa.
The Phantom Menace?
Damn, that's a deep cut.
Oh boy,
No, but
best Wars video game ever made.
I do have the
Oh, man.
original Qui-Gon Jinn Force Effects lightsaber from 1999.
Nice.
Whoa.
No batteries.
fucking
It takes like C batteries, and it weighs like quadruple what it weighs without them. It's hilarious. You could use it as a club, and the thing doesn't close, so I'm not gonna do suggestive movements. God damn.
Y'all still love Star Wars.
There we go.
I think that's the only Star Wars thing I have anymore.
I got a whole box full of Star Wars toys in the other room.
The room next to me, that way, it's a mini Star Wars arcade.
Oh, nice.
Look at you.
Got a Revenge of the Sith foosball table.
Oh, that's cool.
Like 2 pinball sets,
Is
some
it-
dartboards,
Is it like
ton of figures and standees and shit.
clones versus droids, or is it like Jedi versus
It's
Nice.
clone troopers versus super battle droids.
Super Battle Droid? Take him down.
Like those simulations, spins vertically to
They're
ball into the
That's
the
awesome.
proton torpedo.
they're sending in the supers.
The Chancellor.
All right. Well, so we actually did make some talking points earlier.
Okay.
This one's gonna cause a shitstorm if the right people or the wrong people, depending on your point of view, are in are in chat. But our first one, which we have to start with, obviously, is Great Jedi. Do they exist?
But they're totally valid. You know, that's absolutely a thing that exists. By the way, that Volk is having a stroke. Because I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, God. Do you guys smell burnt toast? Because I do.
They're a thing as in they're a concept. That's how I see it.
brother.
They're a concept that is technically dreamt up outside of the Star Wars world to describe somebody that borders between the light and the dark.
Right. The problem is
I can understand that.
the problem is when you border
Like,
between
like-
light and dark, you're just nothing.
Right, yeah. The term Jedi implies that you follow the Jedi code. For a gray Jedi, you are not Jedi. You are not a Jedi.
Yeah, so go and buy the logic of the English language, or I say the English language because Jedi technically isn't an English word. It's just a word that's sort of
Galactic basic
Exists.
language.
yeah. But I'm talking from real world perspective. But yeah, I suppose so. I mean, but then what else would you call them? In fact, even in KOTOR, they call the Sith the Dark Jedi. There's Dark Jedi running all over KOTOR 1.
Right, because they were Jedi who turned to the dark side. They were originally Jedi. They wouldn't consider themselves Jedi anymore.
I personally thought it was just due to ignorance around the galaxy of people not knowing
Exactly.
that they were Sith over Jedi. They was
Well,
Dark
that's-
Jedi. That's all
I
they
can see that.
That's a
could
big part of it.
liken it to.
Yeah.
That's also a big part of it. But like when the Jedi call, Malik and his friends the Dark Jedi, or the Sith, but when they call them the Dark Jedi, it's because they were Jedi originally.
That's like
Yeah, I
it's
do
called
get
the
it
Jedi Civil
sometimes.
War.
Like, if
instead of
you're-
the Dark Wars,
Right.
or
Like if you're an angel who gets cast into hell, you're no longer an angel. You're a fallen angel. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like,
comparison.
yeah. But the other thing, like, I mean, there's also there's like the literal term Jedi, right? But there's also there's a big disconnect, I feel like, with a lot of Star Wars fans who may not get into like so much the metaphysical side of Star Wars, but like you have to remember the Force is an entity that acts through people and on people according to its own will. And when people are used by the Force, I say this in my stream all the time, but when people let the Force act through them, that is considered light. And that's why light side Force users don't decay and start like prematurely aging and shit like that. Because the Force isn't actively trying to take its power
But I
back.
thought the dark side could act through people as well.
Well, no,
The dark
when
side-
When you're a dark side user, you are commanding the.
Yes.
are
You're using your emotions to like bend it to your will.
The dark side is forcing when the dark side is acting through people. That's a fancy way of saying that your emotions are controlling you. Your passions, your emotions, your desires are controlling you.
So what about in this instance then? You've got a Sith holocron in your back pocket, and it's convincing you to join the dark side or follow the dark side. That would.
Well, holocrons are pre-recorded. Holocrons are pre-recorded messages. They're basically like imprints of people's psychology.
Then I could give you another example, which is just like dark side objects, like the Crate Dragon and the Star Map.
Yeah, like
again, that would be an external influence or variable, but
we'll say
I still feel like that would be the dark side influence.
Favorite thing, and folks not gonna like this. My favorite thing about the sequels is kind of the way it personifies the Force in The Force Awakens. Like, kind of its own entity. It's actually doing shit. Like, in the fight scene between Rey and Kylo, like, the ground suddenly splits in half. I always thought that was kind of like the dark side of the Force protecting its champion.
I thought that was just them destroying Starkiller Base.
Right.
What? Like,
I
how
thought that was just fancy for fancy's sake.
The 1 second that it could have mattered. Like, before that, it happens upon this magical thing, like whatever, over and over and over again. And I'm not going to get into the sequels in like an in-depth thing.
Yeah.
Like, it does like dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force are always in this eternal struggle, and they want people join their side. And if you one from the enemy side doing the same thing, you want that's a net gain of 2 instead of 1.
Well,
you lose 1, you gain 1.
The thing is, though, is that the dark side is not an entity. It's not like a dualistic entity. You don't have like an evil god and a good god, right?
Yeah, but then by that like then the light side isn't either. So the Force.
No, well, the light side
is specifically light or dark. It could be either.
It's light because the Force makes it that way, if that makes sense. Again, light and dark is kind of a colloquialism to help people understand it better, but it's really just the Force and the Force acting through you and acting on the Force.
Yeah. It is certainly the major. It's like asking somebody to describe liberal and conservative without like discussing any of their talking points or stances. It's not something that like actually.
And yeah, and then there's all kinds of variations of the like what a lot of people consider to be gray Jedi are like people who serve the Force or serve the light who don't have the same moral code as Jedi and who don't.
Yeah, like the people who are like, my favorite gray Jedi are Qui-Gon Jinn, Ahsoka, and Mace Windu.
Right.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like
Jedi.
they're not. Well, Ahsoka's not a Jedi, but yeah. They are Jedi, but like, yeah, there's always going to be differences in opinion. There's always going to be differences of how to interpret the Force's will, whether the Force even can be intuited, if that makes sense. Because like, there's this whole ontological argument or whatever about how, if you have a prophecy of something, you're inherently changing that prophecy's prediction because you know about the prophecy that something's going to happen. That's actually a pretty big theme in Star Wars if you think about it.
Oedipus dilemma.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think. Oedipus. He's the guy who fucked his mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was from birth. He was destined to kill his father, so his father threw him out into a box out in the ocean. Then, growing up, some random dude in the street not knowing who he was, and it ended up being his father, and then ended up marrying his mother because he didn't know who that was.
Oh, okay.
Greek myth is weird.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's one of the Why can't we just be Zeus and turn into geese and fuck women as geese? Or whatever.
They're children.
But
like across the galaxy there are a lot of cultures that use the Force that aren't part of the Jedi. Like the Wookiees, Ewoks, the Night Sisters, that have Force culture embedded in their society. They may be good people, and they may use the light side of the Force, but they're not still Jedi. They have their own specific names for what they are. Like,
yeah, well, like there's a lot of
maybe it would be unnecessary to even label it as light or dark, but either side of the Force.
It's not. That's what we keep saying. Yeah, it's definitely not necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's not something. That's something I would totally agree with. Essentially.
Yeah, well,
It's just-
that's what I'm saying. Like
We
the
have to
whole
have
lighter
our
dark.
nice, easy, good guys, bad guys.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
villains.
If we keep talking about the Force not in terms of light or dark, no one's like, you know, the
no one understands.
layperson won't understand what we're talking about. They'll just think we're having some philosophical debate, which we are, but you know.
yeah.
But yeah,
and the
there's
bad
all
people
kinds
are the
of
good people to the bad people. And
yeah. Well, there's all kinds of like
Man's Jedi is another man's Sith Lord.
True.
but there's all over the galaxy. There's all these kinds of like shamanistic, you know, very mystic sort of religions. That are individual to whatever culture they're from, you know, like the Ewoks in fucking Caravan of Courage is a good example of that. But I mean, to go for a less
No, it's a
memey
terrible example.
Yeah, to go for a
Because it
less
brings up Caravan of Courage.
just to bring up a less memey example. Yeah, you have one of my viewers brought up the Athorian on Citadel Station in KOTOR 2, Chodo Habat. He's a Force adept, and he could be considered to be a good person, right? Lets the Force act through him and things like that. But he's not a Jedi. He's just a Force adept. And the same can be said. There's other shamanistic dark side organizations like the Night Sisters. This is another example of that. They're not Sith. They actually hate the Sith.
Not Jedi, and they're not Sith.
Yeah.
They are something else entirely.
Right. And like, you know, they have these really weird like necromantic practices like zombies, possession, voodoo dolls at one point. Like they have these really weird things they do. Yeah. But like, you know, they don't have plans to take over the galaxy or anything. Most of what they do is in their own defense, right? Because like, I mean, Dooku like invades the Dathomir,
Right.
right? That's what caused the weird like voodoo doll shit, right? That scene was fucking weird, man.
It was a cool episode, except for just that one aspect of it.
Well, yeah, it's just
It kind of led up to
it's just like
the
we want to portray them as witches, so let's
Disciple?
do one of the most like I don't know, stereotypical like magic shit ever.
yeah.
Let's give them voodoo dolls. But
like Higher War Forces of Corruption does a really good job with it too. Although you only get to interact with them for like 2 fucking missions. And you
Yeah.
just have Sillery fucking around behind your back the whole goddamn game.
God, yeah. Could we talk about the ending of Forces of Corruption? Do you remember the ending of Forces of Corruption?
It was fucking implicated. I just streamed it like a
I've
week ago.
I've never actually played through all of Forces of Corruption, so that's probably a good point where I'm going to get out of here because I've got less than like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah, gotcha.
I appreciate
Well-
you guys having me on today.
Catch you around,
I
Vetrid.
will maybe or may not be back on later. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you all updated, but thanks
Yeah,
for coming out. And for my chat, I think I'm going to end the stream here. So I will catch you guys when I see you. I'm UncleVatred, and I'm out of here.
He's out of here.
Always a pleasure to have you, boss.
Yeah.
And if you aren't already, if you're in my chat, go follow UncleVatred. He's a good guy, quality member of the little Star Wars community we have here.
Yeah. Let me let's see if I can catch him online real quick. So I can go get the URL for his channel. There we go. All right. I'm pretty sure most of my viewers already follow him, or most of my regulars, anyways.
Oh yeah.
But there you go.
Cool.
He'll probably be back
Tight-knit
tonight.
thing.
He's got a baseball game to catch.
Hell yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways,
What were you just about to discuss? Which game?
Empire at War, Forces of Corruption. There's a very specific.
Yeah.
It's mostly just
I-
kind
I-
of nerding out about
I
it.
do not like Forces of Corruption
What?
versus Empire at War.
What?
Empire at War was
Really?
amazing. Why did they limit it and stick you in this half a game thing?
I can't believe
Like,
it's.
where you just
Expansion
I-
pack.
I can't
It wasn't a sequel.
I can't believe it's not the exchange. It kind of
to
was a
me,
sequel.
It just seemed like
It kinda
a
was a
waste of
sequel.
time.
It
You
ki-
deal with
As
the
an
Hut
expansion,
Cartel and,
it wasn't worth. It wasn't even worth installing, in my opinion.
really. No, I love the story of Forces of
Clearly,
Corruption.
clearly, I didn't play enough of it. But
There's-
the difference, I mean, you couldn't do the Galactic campaign. It just didn't. It wasn't all the same. It was just.
Yeah, you
Well,
could.
either that
Yeah, you
or I'm
could.
missing out on something.
Yeah, you could.
But,
Yeah, there was totally a campaign.
So there was only one story campaign.
maybe it's just maybe then I have had a bad experience with it because I remember
It
essentially
added
trying to play
it
it
added
and
more
you only had like
minute
skirmishes
layouts
or something
for
like that.
the conquest versions. No,
actually-
yeah, totally.
it actually
there's
expanded-
a single player campaign.
Yeah, it expanded the
What,
rebels.
it plays
and the
out on a
Empire
galaxy
quite a bit.
map just like in Empire at War.
Yeah.
Well, so there was one story campaign. There was only one story campaign for the Consortium, but you could play Galactic Conquest as the revamped Empire and the revamped Rebels. It was basically like Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Rebels, and Empire. So like how original Empire at War only had
Still
X-Wings
sounds
and
kind of
Y-Wings.
limited though, doesn't it?
Improved units, that sort of thing. They added TIE
well-
interceptors, replaced TIE fighters.
They also
like, that sort of
added a
thing
bunch of
for
quality of
most
life
units.
stuff. There was a bunch of quality of life stuff too. I mean, there was automatic. There was abilities that you could set to automatically activate, so you don't have to micromanage your units so much. And
Yep.
I think they just brought up the reinforcement count and everything too. Like, I mean, it was definitely more well-rounded
Added-
than the original. But
added
It
some
did-
more
just didn't
planets.
grab
They
me, I suppose.
added.
I must have missed out on that.
I mean, I'd recommend
They
go
added,
back and playing it. Yeah.
New layouts for planets.
If I'm honest,
like the whatever the Galactic Conquest mode was called. The third faction kind of throws a wrench in things a little bit because they operate differently than the other two.
Oh, okay.
The Zon Consortium does go more
We lucked
stealth
out.
and subterfuge. They have a lot of stealth units.
Although they can still
A
just
lot
flat
of-
out.
You can just buy a sabotage for cheap.
They can
Only
still
like 1,000 credits for get a defiler.
they can still straight up like conquer the galaxy though. Like they're way OP.
And and they don't have tech levels like the other two do. They
steal
you
their
have to
tech,
send. You have to send a defiler to a planet, establish a black market, buy a new technology from that black market using your heroes.
A defiler voiced
They're a little
by
bit more
Steve
intricate to
Blum.
play. It's not just build a giant space fleet until you build the Death Star and then blow up every planet you don't want the planetary bonus for.
I think that's the
get the
fun part.
overwhelming
right?
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally is. I get that.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked it. But anyways, I guess we won't give away the ending yet, although it had a really cool ending, especially for KOTOR fans.
Did.
Um,
Really did.
yeah. But it was a cliffhanger though. I was like, yeah, I do remember. I was like, oh man, when are they gonna make Empire at War 2? Zon Consortium Boogaloo.
I think the coolest fucking thing was that Eclipse was major fucking facet of the storyline, and it adds it as a playable unit.
Yeah.
Clicking and dragging the Eclipse onto a tiny space map
It lagged the game out.
just feels so goddamn powerful. It takes up half the fucking map.
Yeah,
Like,
they added Executor too. They added all the Super Star Destroyers.
yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anytime I play Empire at War now, I just play a mod
Looks so
for it,
nice.
unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that's
too distracted.
that's
Oh,
fair. I mean, the mods for Empire at War are phenomenal. So,
Yeah,
Oh,
there
they're
are some
so
really
good.
good ones.
fucking
Too many, in fact, to try.
Tour mods
Thrawn's
and-
Revenge. Yeah.
I play a
Thrawn's
Stargate one,
Revenge
and
is really
I
good.
just all I play out of it.
Yeah.
You don't mind if I smoke while you're on stream, do you?
No, go for it.
Just thought I'd check, you know.
I mean, what are we smoking here?
Just tobacco.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. Anyone else?
Somebody in my chat is asking, "What is the Eclipse?" And
Okay.
does it be fair to call it? It's a prototype of the Executor because the Executor
No.
comes first. It was the
It's definitely
planned flagship of Darth Vader.
If anything,
it's-
Executor was no. It was the planned. It was the planned flagship of Palpatine.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so basically,
It was-
you'd have to read Dark Empire. Yeah, Dark Empire to understand this, but like
Yeah, don't read Dark Empire. Don't listen to him.
basically, I'm not saying it's good, but
Yeah.
but basically, so Palpatine, there was this planet in the deep core where Palpatine had set up like basically a cloning station for himself, and he would clone a bunch of different versions of himself, and Palpatine would use a dark side technique that Darth Plagueis tried to discover, but Palpatine killed him before he was able to discover it. But Palpatine learned it himself using Plagueis' research, called essence transfer, and it's something that the ancient Sith knew how to do. For example, Marco Ragnos does it in the end of Jedi Academy.
Somehow, Palpatine has returned.
But basically, yes, that's what essence transfer is. But basically, he essence transfers into these clones whenever he dies. And, like, Dark Empire makes it seem like he's died a bunch of times before, which is kind of bullshit. But, again, Dark Empire came out, like, 1993 or something. So
They needed to write that idea off.
Yeah. But, anyways, so the idea was that, like, Palpatine was just, like, this eternally reincarnating, like dark force or something. But, anyways.
Gray Fox of the Sith.
That didn't really go anywhere, but moral of the story, Palpatine came up with an idea. Once the Super Star Destroyer Executor was completed, Palpatine had this idea that he wanted his own flagship that could be bigger and better than all the other Super Star Destroyers, because, you know, if he's, you know, Sith or super paranoid, if he gets betrayed by Vader or by one of the Moffs or something, then he's going to need a battle station to fight back with. And, you know, the Death Star, in all its glory, it has weaknesses. It's fallible. It's very slow. Like, you know, you can't really do surgical strikes with it. So, basically, he came up with this idea to make a Super Star Destroyer that is, like, twice the size of the other Super Star Destroyers, that also has a built-in super laser, which is not a planet-killing super laser, but it'll destroy any ship, basically. Basically, the biggest, baddest ship in the galaxy, and
Fucking nice to you.
It's completed. It's completed like during Dark Empire, essentially, but yeah, Forces of Corruption had it in it because, like, basically, it's not yet. Tiberzon discovered that, like, the Emperor's building this gigantic battleship
on Kuwat. We're gonna spend the entire campaign spying on it and finding out when it's finished. Then Return of the Jedi happens. You're like, okay, well,
yeah, and that's the thing.
The time.
That's the thing. It's being built. It's being built, and yeah, then Palpatine dies, and then he essence transfers, which takes a long time for, like, your soul to, like, reconstitute or whatever. He essence transfers into his clone on this planet Biss. But
that's not part of Empire War. That's part of Dark Empire.
Yes, sorry, it's part of Dark Empire. But yeah, Palpatine is dead throughout the entirety of, like, the Eclipse arc of Forces of Corruption. I'm pretty sure.
First 75% of it, him and Vader are still alive, and then last act.
Yeah, there's like a mission where they say, like,
immediately right after Return of the Jedi.
There's like a holo message that's like the Empire and, like, or the Emperor and Vader were killed over Endor, and they're like, oh my god, that's huge.
Can't invade Endor, Yavin, or Coruscant until certain parts in the game.
Yeah.
Endor and Coruscant you never get to, and you have to wait until Star Wars has happened.
Isn't there, like, a mission where you go to Hoth after the rebels have already evacuated, and there's just, like, pirates hanging out there in Echo Base or whatever?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Empire controlled if you attack it during the first half of the campaign, and then pirate controlled if you attack into the second half. Which is a neat touch.
I can see that.
That's a pretty cool detail.
Okay,
we have literally no use for this. The Empire's pulling out. Oh, I love Galactic Battlegrounds. I've been trying to get Bulk to join me in a game of that for so long now.
Lay bought it for
Suck
me.
at RTSs, but I love them.
It's a bit dated now.
Well, it's just AoE 2, right?
Yeah,
essentially.
a couple of unique.
I was okay.
Twists,
I was okay at
Star
AoE
Wars.
2.
Really bad at AoE 2. Love playing it.
I mean, I'll like.
RTS or so struggle.
I'll play with you. I'm not good at RTSs either, but I'm definitely not, like, hyperactive enough to want to be good at them. But
original Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds was actually the first RTS I ever played. I think I was like 6 or 7 years old when it got its expansion. I played it after that.
Nice. I think, yeah. I mean, Star Wars games. Star Wars RTS is the first one I ever played was Empire War. Although I played Age of Empires 1 back when I was like 3 years old. So, yeah. Alright, well, anyways.
Later, Commander, and that game was okay. No, go ahead.
So it's kind of funny that Vatred left. Oh, by the way, he said his game was reined in, so he might be back.
Oh shit! Hell yeah.
So we'll see.
Cool.
I don't know. He hasn't rejoined yet. I think he can just rejoin whenever he wants. So if he does, he does.
Right.
So the Bad Batch. That's our next topic of discussion.
Ooh.
A little disclaimer. I don't think either of us have seen it. Any of the three of us.
Right.
Nope.
Chad, of course, if you've happened to have seen it in the last 17, 18 hours, it's been viewable. Please don't get anything from the series.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
that's part of my chat rules is not bringing up media that I haven't seen yet and spoiling some shit. So
yeah, it's common decency. Don't spoil shit,
Right.
So that being said, have we all seen the Bad Batch in Clone Wars?
The episode.
Yeah. Certainly.
Yeah, the episode. I think it was a couple of episodes, but yeah, essentially.
It's
I've seen all 7 seasons.
Echo arc.
Oh, I don't fucking know their names. I just call them the Rambo guy, the sniper guy, the
Echo's the one that got
Echo. I do remember Echo.
The CIS super prison.
Yeah.
I just remember the
thing he was dead.
Service track.
Literally a year.
So let's
Quake forward.
So let's talk about the Bad Batch then. My impressions of the Bad Batch are they wanted to make a cool clone commando team, but they weren't just going to rip off Republic Commandos, so they decided to stick a bunch of weird action movie cliches together and call it a day.
Rambo ×4.
Yeah. Well, one of them literally looks like Rambo.
One of them is literally designed after Sylvester Stallone. One of them is literally designed after Clint Eastwood. One of them is literally designed after the Hulk. One of them is a recurring character who's been Strogged. If you've ever played Quake 4. Then I'm forgetting the last one, so he's probably not the most exciting one anyway.
Well, it was the computers guy. It was the computer guy, the big guy, the sniper guy, and and Rambo.
The hacker guy is the one I'm forgetting. Yeah. Rambo, it's Sylvester Stallone, Clint Eastwood, Mark Ruffalo, recurring character, and meek hacker guy. Their own clone A team.
Was Clint Eastwood the sniper?
He is literally designed after Clint Eastwood.
This is where they screw us all over and reveal it to be the team from Republic Commando.
Right. God. Oh.
I mean, we just think about it. Fixer, you got the sniper, you got boss, and you got the demolitions.
If they ever have Scorch,
you've got the exact number of people.
If they ever have Scorch in a game and he isn't voiced by Raphael Sparge, I'm gonna fucking go apeshit.
I believe they've already canonized Delta Squad.
They canonized the Clone Commandos existing.
I mean, they're not them.
That was that Clone Commando.
Yeah, we saw
he was from a different. He was like Omega Squad or something. It was like a different squad.
Yeah.
That's what Disney loves doing with the old properties.
Delta Squad just walking around in the background with the same armor, the same color scheme, everything. It was part of the teaser for season 6 or 7, one of the two.
Oh yeah, they appeared in the background episode. Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the thing that I can't stand. I can't stand about the new Disney stuff. They always tease the existence of EU properties, but they won't just make them canon. They'll change them around and spit them out different somehow. They won't just say oh yeah, KOTOR's canon. They're referencing events in KOTOR. They'll go no. They said they have a squad named after Darth Revan. Oh, they have a guy in Clone Commando armor.
Revan.
Yeah, it's just okay. So basically, you're leaving it open for you to butcher that part of the franchise too. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little jaded.
I really think games need to be upscaled, not remade or remastered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
If they do it all, yeah. I mean, upscale is fine.
It's just a way to cheaply port things and then sell them for $60 again.
Well, I mean,
nostalgia.
I don't even think it should be allowed. I mean, I think the open source community has it quite well under wraps. I mean,
Oh yeah, certainly.
you say you played Metal Gear Solid in that. Have you tried out Duck Station, the new PlayStation emulator?
Yeah.
It's
I
awesome.
don't play the Metal Gear
upscales
games
things.
on emulators only because I
Okay,
have them all originally, actual
that
software.
makes sense.
No, yeah, I'm aware of the multitude of issues that happens from the generic, commonly available multiplayer or emulators right now. Making Ocelot Black and MGS2.
There's a few really good ones that upscale games really well. PPSSPP for PSP games upscales like beautifully. In fact, I'll drop an image in chat. So
apparently, apparently 3.8 and Sev showed up in an episode. Yeah. According to my chat, yeah.
There's like it's
I don't remember that at all.
scene.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. I remember the one clone commando who like sacrificed himself for R2D2 or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember seeing them. But I guess fair enough.
It's literally like.
But again, it's just like
foreground is a major
the
character
teases-
doing a relevant thing, and in the background there's the two of them like standing at like a hologram terminal or some shit, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but
might be a little bit off on the details.
Are they going to come out and say Republic Commando is canon again? No. Like
Probably not. Yeah.
It's just these stupid teases.
Wide. It is the suit.
It's just we can do this if we want to.
It's just let's string
I think that
along
was
the
kind
old
of their
EU
way of
fans.
just like
Yeah. I don't know.
yeah.
I hate sounding overly cynical when it comes to like Star Wars stuff like this, but
throwing
like
them a bone.
yeah, I hate sounding overly cynical like this, but like oh god, it's I don't know, it's like I don't know, it seems disrespectful to me, but like I don't know.
See,
Oh, they own the IP. They can do whatever they want.
Hey, oh boy, I love Disney.
Yeah.
You and I differ on one thing.
What? What? You don't like everything Star Wars that's ever come out ever? You're such a bad fan. Star Wars fans hate Star Wars so much. Oh my goodness. Time to go.
It would be like if I had enough money to buy Marvel and DC. Do you know what I'd do? Burn them.
Right.
Literally, I would burn them to the ground.
But you're allowed
because people can and would do that sort of thing. It shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would do it out of spite because I have such hatred for them.
Oh, really?
Between Marvel and DC fans, I could never get into either side just because people would point you one direction or the other, and I just went, stuff this. I don't want to know anything about superheroes.
Fair enough. I like Marvel. I'm not like I mean DC is like meme to me, but I have liked Marvel for like basically my whole life, but
over the last 10 years,
I mean, I'm sure I can like a bit of both.
Certainly Marvel.
Yeah. I mean,
Since the whole Avengers MCU shenanigans started, like the stories have gone downhill, and the new characters they've introduced have sucked.
Dude, the DC, well, I mean, and the DC universe just is terrible too. I don't know, man.
And that's everybody's perception of DC, which
well, yeah, right.
Like, there are so many good runs. Like I grew up reading X-Men. X-Men was my shit. I remember reading X-Force in the late 90s. It was like my first comic book. They introduced Cable and Deadpool. Dude, this is fucking cool. You know, Rob Liefeld can't draw for shit. Human being. Like, they were still really good runs. They were action-packed. They dealt with the whole rights issues of X-Men books at the time before they just became guys with superpowers fucking around.
So back to...
That was kind of my first introduction to Marvel. Like,
back to the Bad Batch, though.
Right.
Did you guys see the trailer?
I think so.
I think we could probably discuss the trailer, because I do remember some stuff about it, like... Because it takes place post-66, right? It's post-Order 66.
Right.
Which...
Like, right there at the end of
which I think is actually really cool. That's probably my...
As the Sith happens.
That's probably my favorite thing about it.
My thoughts on it are it could be really cool, but there's going to be a few letdowns, and that's almost a guarantee. There's going to be something that just... I don't know. I mean, I still can't get behind the Mandalorian.
Really? Wow.
What? Ow.
Just Baby Yoda just killed it off for me. I mean, come on,
Fair.
they only did it.
That's fair.
They only wrote Baby Yoda because Baby Yoda.
That's fair.
That was the only reason.
He was a toy commercial.
There was no.
Yeah.
He was a toy. Exactly, a toy commercial,
Well,
which
yeah,
is disgusting behavior for human beings.
I
to
really
just plaster out stuff for children to buy.
I really did like the show, but I definitely understand that. Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't know, man. I mean, like,
I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed a lot of it. Don't get me wrong, in its sense, but I still hated.
I'm not a fan of pointless money grabs, as you can see, but I did like the Mandalorian because, like, I mean, like the story was good.
There's a Yoda standing.
The story was good. The actual like lore was also good. Like the actual like lore they introduced, it wasn't just. Some of it was, but it wasn't just like stupid teases and shit like they do in Clone Wars where they're like, oh, that guy had a Republic Commando helmet. Oh, maybe Republic Commando's canon.
Yeah.
You'll never know because we won't make it canon. It's just... Good morning.
I actually enjoyed, like... the Mandalorian's kind of that return to Star Wars Galaxies energy. It's like, here's an episode
Here's
about
a world.
some dude...
About Mon Calamari fishermen.
Hangar. That hangar is run by this old lady that owns 3 droids. We're gonna go to the bar and we're gonna talk to some dude you've never heard of. He's just now becoming a bounty hunter. And he's gonna deal with our protagonist, and we're gonna drive out in the middle of nowhere and deal with something vaguely tangentially related to something you're familiar with.
Yeah.
The entire episode.
I love slice of life shit like that.
Mandalorian has to go into the Force
I
cave
just-
and fight Darth Vader's son. Like it's not like main characters doing main character things all the time. It breaks that upsetting formula that Star Wars has, where there's only 20 people in the galaxy that fucking matter.
Yeah. And they're all related
Somebody
to
has a
someone.
name,
They're all related
the
to someone.
name.
Yeah.
Exactly. The son of an Antilles, son of a Porkins.
One of my favorite
My
fucking
great
things.
grandfather was roommates with Jack Porkins in high school.
not to bring up the sequels
the
again.
Organa house from SWTOR.
Oh God.
Right.
Don't talk about that.
The Olgo house.
Right.
The Organa house.
Well, again, not to bring the sequels up again, but it is a positive thing. That's one of the only things I did like about The Last Jedi was that they were like, Rey, you're nobody. You're just a fucking rando. And then they're like, oh, you're Palpatine's granddaughter or whatever.
Yeah, that's
It's like, oh, okay. So one of the only good things about Last Jedi.
One thing I got right.
Yeah, it was one of the only good things about Last Jedi.
And then J.J. Abrams had to be like, oh shit.
J.J. Abrams like, oh,
control.
people didn't like The Last Jedi? Oh, let's change one of the only good things about it.
I do like the way that they snuck in. Well, I say snuck in, but I thought it was quite a blatant, like, up view to what's the word? Hierarchies of power. Just the way that is it Bill Burr, the actor, just diced that captain guy. Just lost his mind and diced the captain. That was good.
Word.